Gary, just a quick one on what you do at this time of the season. It's Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday. The weather's bad, time on the grass and all that kind of thing. What's a normal week, if you like, look like at this time of the year?
Wow. I didn't expect that pledge from you today. Yeah, it is what it is. We played obviously Tuesday. Yesterday was a day off, get them away from the place. I think that's just as important as anything really, is that we don't spend too much time in each other's company, because it's a long season, so it's about keeping that freshness, and sometimes just being away from the building is just as good as anything else. Today we've obviously then done a second day recovery for the ones that have played an awful lot of minutes the last two games, and the others then had a really good training session, intense, and the standard was very high, because we've got players that are fighting for competition now, and that in itself just takes the level up. And then tomorrow will be meetings with them, meetings today as well, but then game preparation for Saturday, and then rinse and repeat, as they say.
And I'm sure it's the same for every club in the division and throughout the
UFL.
Of course. But it strikes me that you don't get a lot of time on grass with the players who are regulars in the team. You don't want to be flogging them, clearly,
no,
but
no.
That does that alter preparation at all?
No, not really. I think throughout the course of this season, one thing that we have been is consistent in our formation, consistent in our style of play, and so it's just getting reminders, and then obviously little things that we might think that might be beneficial going into that particular game, with and without the ball, with a careful eye on, like you say, not making sure that we're out there for hours upon hours and flogging him.
You described Tuesday as the biggest win of the season.
Best
win of the season. Okay, yeah. Best win of the season. You're going to need a few more best wins of the season between now and May.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, if you offered me another 10 of those, I'd take them. I said that. There's been many games this season where we've gone to the teams in the top division and been, more than competitive and come away with nothing. So, at this stage of the season now, performances, it's about points within reason, but I was so pleased with them on Tuesday night for the fight that they showed. We had more than 11 fighters out there on Tuesday night, in such a massive test for them mentally, to go toe to toe with West Ham for 120 minutes and mentally and physically then come out on top against Rotherham, which was going to be a completely different game. We knew really, I said to him afterwards and today, really gave me hope in terms of their careers, not just this season but going forward, because they've had to overcome a couple of big mental tests the last couple of games.
It wasn't until Dokes, who spoke to us after the game, mentioned it about a clean sheet.
Yeah,
you had one at Boreham Wood.
Yeah.
In the FA Cup.
But in the league, it was Wickham.
December, the goalless draw with Wickham.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, too long. I said it, and that was the real big thing for us, for Brad Collins, his confidence as well, and the rest of the defenders as well, to get a clean sheet. But as you know, we see it as the whole team. The whole team's responsible for scoring goals. The whole team's responsible for keeping a clean sheet. So really pleased with that, and now we've got to try and back that up. We've got to go and back that up in the remaining 15 games.
It gives you that foundation, though, doesn't it? If you can keep clean sheets in half the games between now and the end of the season, you know how many points you're definitely going to get.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it. We all grew up listening to the great Brian Clough, and you start with a clean sheet, so do the utmost to keep it, and that's what the message from us going into Saturday's game now.
Can I talk to you about Karen Lofthouse, please?
Yeah.
He got to he's in double figures now for his goals and assists, which is
unbelievable.
What we've been talking about for some time now, that he should be, that you want him to be, because he has that ability. He also gets kicked a lot. He's very durable.
Yeah.
He rarely misses. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm the same as you, but worried.
I'm very worried for you now this weekend.
If he doesn't play on Saturday, I'll take full responsibility. Yeah. But a word for him, because I mean, he was in the team of the year.
That's right.
In the EFL,
Yeah.
The contribution that he makes, it sometimes goes a little bit forgotten. Not by you, I know, but by some people, because the strikers take the plaudits or the defenders chucking themselves in front of shots.
I totally agree with everything you're saying in that sense. For him to have 10 assists this season and 4 goals already, and could have had, or a couple of great saves against him, and the opportunities and the confidence that he's playing with, and he could have had more assists because he's put some wonderful crosses in as well. So I'm delighted for him. From when we first brought him in, probably January last year, right on the death of the window, how the impact he had, how much stress to the people above me that it was important that we got him back, and we managed to do that. And there was a lot of talk about a couple of other players in January. I was amazed that people weren't knocking my door down on him. And one of the advantages of him is like you say, he's like a Duracell battery. He just keeps going.
The other thing as well, and we spoke to him most recently, I think, at Port Vale. He loves playing for this football club, and he has a real connection with this football club, which must be great for you to hear things.
Yeah, definitely. And he spoke about that honestly with myself. He spoke about it with the group as well, in terms of what the group means to him and what the club means to him. And he is a classic example of a player coming in, feeling valued, making connections with staff, with players, and growing. And you just see the way that his career has gone from when he first came in as a lone player to where he is now. And we keep challenging him, keep demanding him, keep loving him, and at the same time thinking, I wonder where he'll be in the summer. But from now until the end of the season, if he can keep on this, then he'll be another one that will be attracting interest.
Can I ask you about a player who isn't yours but is here, Andy Cannon?
Yes.
We haven't seen him start a game yet. I'm not going to start picking a team for you.
No, I don't mind you. I'd be interested, actually.
Well, I'm just wondering, is he closer to being
I'd be interested
available? Yes, absolutely. Is he closer to being available to start? Is he available to start?
Yeah, he has obviously been out a long time, and we knew that when we were bringing him in, and we knew that what we couldn't do is go and flog him straight away. So obviously we've had dialogue with Wrexham in terms of how they best saw the plan, because ultimately he's their player. And so it's just been a case of looking after him that way. But, I have to say, every time he's come on, he's made a massive impact for us. And, it's great to have somebody on the bench that you can turn to, knowing that you can trust to go and make that impact as well. So he's close to starting a game, whether it's this Saturday or Tuesday, I'm yet to decide.
You have those 3 midfielders, if you like, who start games and have done ever so well, but you also now have, whether it's Sully or Keggs, whether it's Andy Cannon or somebody else.
Yeah, lovely.
Absolutely, which you haven't really had, but no. Wrexham do have an input, yeah.
Oh, of course, he's their player. Ultimately, he's their player, and they don't pick my team like you don't pick my team, but they do have an influence in that sense of the schedule that they would have liked him to have followed, and I think we've done that. It might have even done better than that in that sense, but yeah, it's just a case of getting him through this period of Saturday, Tuesday, and then after that, he's good to go.
There must be a sense, almost a frustration, not frustration, but that's too strong a word, that he isn't starting himself. I'm talking about he'll want to start, but also have the confidence in the injury that it's fully healed.
I know. I think it's like any player that when you go out, when you've been out for a long time, there's always that lingering bit of self-doubt. But how we're managing him, how we're communicating with him, and the programme that obviously he's gone through, he's just getting more and more confident every day.
Injured players. Terence Van Kooten, we spoke about him briefly on Tuesday night. I wasn't sure if he was going to get round to the dugout in time for full time at one point, because he looked bad. How is he?
Well, he at the time he did a great impression of C3PO, didn't he? And there's a couple of them looking here going, who's C3PO? I need some new material on my jokes, I really do. But he's got better every day. So we'll see how he is tomorrow before making the decision whether we put him on a bus.
And of the recent-ish starters, Dylan Williams was doing some running before the game.
Yeah, he's still not ready.
And JJ, you were talking about?
Yeah, JJ and Jack Armour have trained today, so we'll see how they are tomorrow. Obviously they missed Tuesday, so they weren't right for Tuesday, and just have to see how they recover after today's session.
And it was great on Tuesday evening when I arrived at the ground. It was great to see Charlie Webster running on a football pitch, but it also meant that he still isn't quite ready to be included in a matchday squad. The Charlie Webster question, the weekly Charlie Webster question, how is he?
Yeah, he's great. He's back in with the group. So, this period of time's come at a nightmare for him in that sense of Saturday, Tuesday, because he doesn't get to train with the whole group as such. But obviously we have to then adapt and make sure that we're providing a programme for him and the others, and he's fitted into that today with that session. So it's a case of see how he recovers after today. And the temptation is for everybody to get all giddy and excited and rushing back and chuck him in, and then we've pushed him too early. So my job at this moment in time is to try and keep the reins on everybody. And it sounds like I've got to put them on you as well.
Well, interesting. It's an interesting point you make, because we've discussed it a lot, and it almost feels like everybody is waiting for Charlie Webster to come back and just lift the team to a new level. That's an awful lot of pressure on young shoulders.
No, and he was playing well, of course, but Charlie would be the first, if you put him up here, to explain and accept that he needs his teammates. So it's not a Charlie Webster show, just like it's not a one-man show for anybody other player. Our strength is our team, and our strength is our togetherness, and Charlie's part of that. You can do all the running in the world, but we all know that it's these training sessions where you're in amongst bodies. That's where you get your confidence from. Training amongst bodies, getting hit when you didn't expect it, and just the football side of it, and that's what he's got to go through. And I'm conscious that he's going to have to tick off a few more days with us before we can even consider him for selection.
I've just remembered that I haven't asked you about Luton, and apparently there's a game of football on Saturday against Luton Town. We spoke briefly again on Tuesday night about Luton in the Premier League, what seems like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I know you went last night. I watched them on television last night. I wish I watched Arsenal Wolves. What did you make of them, and what you were expecting?
It was cold. It was very cold, and you live not far away. The Long Johns were back out last night. I saw an unbelievable squad there. The selection that Jack's got. I got a little bit starstruck, if I'm being honest, because I'm looking down and I'm looking at Jack Wilshere, thinking, wow, he's a manager now. It's like incredible, because what a player he was. And then I was just reminiscing about him as a player, and wow, I bet he looks and watches it thinking, well, I wish I could still put my boots on, because he was tops for club and country, So, I was a little bit starstruck last night, if I'm being honest, thinking, I'm going to be in the same technical area as Jack Wilshere, so I have to take the autograph book.
Bringing on the likes of Naki Wells.
But going back to the squad.
He scored 100 championship goals.
Yeah,
and he's coming off the bench.
Yeah, they've got an unbelievable squad, like I say. Sometimes, not that I've had it many times this season, but if you have too many players, it can cause you a problem, in terms of which formations you go to, which players you select, and that in itself can, causes a little bit of uncertainty in your dressing room, where for us, like I say, the majority of the positions this season, we just rolled the team out and they know who's playing and they know how it is, and that in itself brings that group dynamic. But we're going to like a team that's spent heavy last year when they came out the Prem. They spent heavy again this year trying to get back in the champ, and I'm imagining it's like the expectation is obviously they've got to get promoted again, but we go there full of confidence and belief in terms of how we've performed against teams that are in and around the playoffs, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it again.
Just one more from me.
Yeah.
The club announced its profits, its losses of £8.3 million,
Yeah.
which we all knew about because they've been well publicised by the club prior to the accounts going in, reducing that by 30 to 40% this year going into next year. I'm not asking you if you can if you can help them out in any way.
Well, you're asking me to take a pay cut.
But it's going to affect you, isn't it, next summer? I mean, you've signed a new contract, so you're contracted for next year. It's going to affect you in the summer, isn't it, and your ability to spend, if you like.
Well, I think everybody was aware of what had happened the summer before. So, people above me, that's their remit more than mine. But what we have done since we've come here is that we've developed players, and obviously the sale of Burrell, what we now have on the pitch prior to us arriving, which we didn't have, was we now have a return on the investments. So we've just talked about Lofthouse being one of those, and there's several others, and I don't want to advertise any more because like you say, we want to try and keep them, but reality is I've said it all in my managerial career, everybody's a selling club. Really are. Everybody, you get a good player, and in the Championship he goes to the Prem, so every Championship club becomes a selling club, and even some of the top Premiership clubs, then they're selling to Real Madrid, Barcelona, now Saudi, go and take all your best players. So it's just the reality of the situation. I'm yet to have that budget meeting.